So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
All right, what up, what up, what up? This is Brandon Risher, and you are watching The Slant. Happy start of the holiday season, everyone. Hope everyone has had a great 2019 so far. Now we're getting into the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. And I know everybody's looking forward to eating and having a great time with people. And I wanted to bring on somebody today who was really into diet and exercise and nutrition, right? So I have Allie Richardson, a registered dietitian, here today. So thank you, Allie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
What we're going to talk about today is something that a lot of people want to talk about, don't know necessarily how to talk about it, which is food and disordered eating. So, you know, with the Thanksgiving season, everybody's eating and overeating and can't wait. You know, like I've seen posts already, like I'm already ready to eat. And like almost people are like ready to be gluttonous.
Yep, ready for the elastic waistbanders.
Yes, exactly. So wanted to talk a little bit more about food and disordered eating and how that really like shows itself much more during the holiday season.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for coming, and you know, hopefully this will be entertaining and informative.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
hope so too.
So, you know, when you hear about the word eating disorder, like some people, you know, hear that term but don't really know what it is. Exactly, what is an eating disorder?
An eating disorder, it's a way of controlling something in your life, and a lot of times that's food.
Okay.
You know, it's psychological, but then it also ends up being physical at times too. So there's, you know, many different types of eating disorders. You have anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, now orthorexia.
What's orthorexia?
Orthorexia is where you overcompensate with exercise or a little obsessive about food. So sometimes, you know, bloggers that call themselves foodies use their, you know, Instagrams or blogs as a coping mechanism for an eating disorder, and that's more orthorexic because it's a way for them to control how much they exercise, what they're putting into their bodies. That's more orthorexic.
Okay, I would imagine for like binge eating, like this time of year is like the binge eating disorder's dream.
Right, you have all the big feasts,
like, oh my God,
right.
like now it's my time to shine.
Yeah.
Right? So we hear about eating disorders, but what's the difference between that and disordered eating? Because sometimes there is a distinction, but what is that distinction exactly?
Disordered eating, it's just, you know, it's a different pattern of eating. Some meals are great, some meals are bad. You know, it's nothing super consistent. In my opinion, eating disorder, you know, it has a label on it. It's one way, you know, you aren't eating, you're anorexic, that type of thing. It's very, and that's more of a doctor's diagnosis almost. Disordered eating is, you know, they're just such a different pattern of eating. There's, you know, different types. You can eat a lot one meal, some meals are less, some meals are more, and you're just all over the board, and that's, in my opinion, disordered eating. Other professionals may disagree, but I just think that it's not a cookie cutter way to look at it, and that's more my
So
opinion
let's
to look at
say
it.
I'm going to my family's house,
Yep.
right? It's Thanksgiving time. I'm ready to, you know, eat all this turkey, get all this tryptophan, fall asleep. How would I know if I'm just eating a lot versus doing something that's more considered in the binge eating type of realm?
Right. So if you're just eating a lot and you're like, okay, it's Thanksgiving, I only get this meal, you know, one time a year, and you have 1 or 2 portions of mashed potatoes and stuffing and turkey. Okay.
Right.
That's eating a lot.
Okay.
The binge eaters are oh my gosh, I never get this meal. I have to eat it all. Everything that's in front of me, going back for more and more until they physically are ill, physically cannot, hardly move because they're so stuffed. Because it's a way for them, that it's just their coping mechanism. Once they start, they can't stop. Somebody that's eating a Thanksgiving meal that they're loving, that their grandma's recipes, they tend to, you just tend to stop when you're pretty full. You kind of know that a person that has a binge eating disorder is someone that necessarily can't and stop. Or doesn't have that sense. They feel full, but they keep going. Right. That type of thing.
Well, it's interesting. So you say that, but what I hear is, growing up, boy, you better finish your plate. Right? So,
right, yeah.
Like, it may be for me that I'm full, but I've been taught, like, hey, you better finish your plate.
Right.
You know how many people out here wish they can have a meal like this.
Right.
And it's almost like your family is kind of challenging your fullness to get to a point where it's like, I don't really know what else to do other than to finish my plate. Like,
right.
the kind of the psychological kind of aspect to, well, I should finish my food. So,
right.
How do you make that distinction between somebody just like, I'm doing what my mom told me to do growing up versus, okay, now this is something that I necessarily have to go seek some assistance on.
Right. And that is something too, in our education that they're really teaching us, that was not necessarily the best parenting strategy that we're now discovering because it has led to so many people being like, well, crap, I'm full, but my plate's not done. And that's something that, we work a lot with people on is it's okay not to finish your plate. You really have to, and that's something that's hard to do is channeling your hunger cues. When are you full? When are you hungry? And kind of differentiating between the two, especially at Thanksgiving time, most people fast. They skip breakfast and lunch, so they're ready for that 4:00 meal.
Well, yes, because we got to travel and go back home, so you got to eat at this weird hour.
Yeah.
So it's like a late lunch when it's dinner, and then I'm eating again late.
Exactly, and you're like having snacks and pie, and it's confusing. So, and that's a hard day, really, too. To, I'm okay. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. It's a hard day, too, to really be able to figure out and channel in your hunger cues, because in the morning you're hungry at about 10 a.m.
Right.
But then usually your body kicks in and does its thing, and you aren't as hungry, and then you get starving by the time your actual meal comes, and that's reason why people overeat a little bit. But then it's hard to tell when you're actually full, because you're not giving your brain enough time to be like, oh yeah, I'm full, stop now. Don't go get the second helping of mashed potatoes yet, like, give me a sec. So it's something that I like to work with people on a lot, because it is challenging, listening to your hunger cues, when you're hungry, when you're full, but it's something that's so beneficial, and especially at this time of year when food is everywhere, when Christmas cookies are being made and snacks are all around. It's something that I really like to work with people on, because it is so important.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Can you be a binge eater? Can you be a skinny binge eater?
Absolutely.
A skinny binge eater?
Yeah.
Okay, what is that?
Binge eating and a person's physical size do not correlate.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. You absolutely can be of a thinner, in a thinner body, and also have a binge eating disorder. Absolutely. You don't have to be overweight or obese to have a binge eating disorder, and vice versa. You don't have to be super skinny to have anorexia.
Oh, okay. Because I think when people think about anorexia, they're thinking about the person that's 80 pounds and looks like they can blow over at any moment, right?
Yeah.
And, or somebody's obese. But you're saying that people can really, their bodies can really not be as representative of what they're actually experiencing.
Exactly.
If I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Correctly. Okay.
Exactly. And that's too, you always want to be watchful of your comments, because you don't know what's going on in someone's head. Even someone skinnier may be, eat that extra hamburger. It really is, triggering for them to be like, oh yeah, I should eat, and it triggers their disorder, and vice versa with someone that's a little more overweight. Oh, maybe you should lay off the extra Christmas cookie. That's it. You just have to always be careful, because you don't know.
When I hear a lot of culture, when I hear about this kind of cultural differences. You know,
Yeah.
like going to Thanksgiving and growing like, boy, you're skinny.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here today because you need
Right.
to have a couple of more plates,
Yeah.
to fatten you up a
Right.
little bit. And you're trying to explain to someone who maybe is not as knowledgeable about some of the disordered eating or some eating disorders. And like, hey, Granny, I don't know, I can't really have this. I'm trying to maintain my weight.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, trying to be all cityfied or something like that. Versus, but really trying to, make that distinction between,
Yeah.
the differences and, because that is something, when you're having the holiday season, it is very easy, to get off your game. And then as we know with a lot of habits, once you're off of it, it's really hard to kind of get back into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's, really kind of talking about that with, the people that you love and say, all right, I am going to kind of eat normally. Yes, I can bring food home and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to eat 3 dinners just because I can.
Right. Like leftovers are okay. They are okay to
Right.
bring home.
So again, let's talk about eating and relationships. So let's talk about relationships with food.
Right.
Like, so, in my field, I did a lot about relationships, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
you have relationships that are codependent and you have relationships, a good one that are interdependent. And, food is something that we absolutely need, right? So we have to have some type of relationship, a healthy or an unhealthy relationship. So when you're trying to explain to someone the relationship to food, what are you really talking about?
I'm talking about, your mindset going into a meal. What does that meal consist of? Why does it consist of that? Do you feel guilty after eating something or do you feel really good? How, are you sleeping well? Do you feel fueled, tired? All those things that, you go about your day that you don't even realize is affecting you. That's your relationship with food because you have to eat it. You have to, otherwise you're not going to survive. So in my opinion, your relationship with food is every time you go eat, what's your mindset? What are you preparing? How did you prepare it? Was it, with the family? Was it by yourself? Were the kids running around? It's everything involved around the food. So,
when I think about relationships, I think about being food, like being a lover. Like generations ago, you had breakfast, you saw your spouse, hey babe, I'm about to go to work, I see you, and you didn't talk to them again until you got off of work, right?
Right.
And then you had your dinner, and then you had that. Now, just like with people with texting, we have access to food all the time. We
All the
never
time.
get to miss
I know.
food, right?
Right.
Kind of like a lover. You never get to miss your lover. You
Yeah.
always have access to them.
Right.
And not and having more access to someone doesn't necessarily mean it's better. So just like food, having more access to food doesn't
Absolutely.
necessarily mean that you are better, right?
Right.
So it's really being able to kind of restrict, just like in a relationship, you have to restrict and really have the experience of food.
Absolutely.
If I can experience it at my beck and call all the time, then I can't really enjoy any one experience with a meal because it's just something that's part of my day. Just like texting with your partner all day long, it could be equivalent to snacking.
yeah,
Where you
exactly.
constantly do it and you're constantly, hey, what are you up to? And you're just like, oh, I mean, now you get home, now you have nothing to do, but just like, but I got to talk to you or I have to eat because it's dinner time.
Yeah.
Because I've been so, I've been so reinforced to eat, even though I'm full. And now I'm eating 400 or 500 calories more a day.
Exactly.
I'm bloated.
Right.
So to speak,
not even hungry.
or I'm overweight.
Yeah.
So kind of the relationship
Yeah.
with food in that sense. I'm always trying to think about anything that we consume, whether it's drugs, drinking, alcohol, to a relationship, because you can be so dependent on it that you can't live without it versus saying, well, how do I live with it?
Right.
How do we work in syncopation
Exactly.
as opposed to it, it's controlling me.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Because it can. It
Oh.
can get so, controlling over you. And it can consume your thoughts. What am I going to eat? I don't know. It's 6 o'clock. Why am I not hungry? I should be eating. It's dinner time, And I love working with people on that. It's okay if you're not hungry at 6 o'clock. It's okay if you just need a snack at 7:30 before bed. It's okay not to have a full meal if that's not what your body's telling you to eat, And I think that it's important for people to know that sometimes at breakfast you're going to need a bigger breakfast and other mornings you're just going to need, a small muffin or a granola bar. And it's okay to have those fluctuations because your body is programmed to regulate itself, So, and I think, all the points you made are spot on. You got to figure out how to have a good relationship with food. And if you are snacking all day, well, you're probably not going to be hungry for dinner. So,
Right.
and it's just working through and navigating through how can I have a good relationship? When is my body telling me to have a snack? When is it not?
Right. And just with any relationship, what am I supposed to get out of this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, to use again the corollary to like dating or relationship,
Mm-hmm.
if my spouse is to only make me feel good,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
and my spouse's food, then I'll buy food that makes me feel good,
Right.
So that's a lot of sugar-based things.
Right.
That's a lot of confection and
Yep.
cakes and pies and things
Yep.
like that, because my relationship to this substance is you make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I give you what you need, which is money and time
Yep.
and energy, you'll make me feel
Right,
good, right?
right.
As opposed to just like
Yeah.
any healthy relationship, you're like, no, there's certain parts I need, but there's certain parts I want, and I can really merge the two. I need the protein, I
Yep.
need some carbohydrates, I need all of those other things, and I can have, pie from time to time,
Yeah.
right, in moderation, as
Yeah.
opposed to it being the only thing. So,
Right.
So when I work with people who have had some of these issues, though I don't work with eating disorders and
Yeah.
that you do, is to really talk about what is the relationship, and like with other relationships that you have in your life, what do you expect to get out of this relationship?
Right.
And I think some people don't ask that fundamental question, like, what am I supposed to get out of this relationship?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to get out of this meal?
Yeah.
And not every meal is supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to give you the fuel necessary to go about your business.
Right.
And do the things that you really want to do.
Yeah.
More so than anything. And I think, particularly with sweet potato pies and cherry
Yeah.
pies and all these things that are coming up, it's like,
Yeah.
now it's my time to feel good. So we have season, right? So
Yeah.
we have seasonal affective disorder that kicked
Yep.
in about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
It's like, Thanksgiving is coming. I've been sad, and I'm gonna get all the things that make me feel good. And now I feel bad that I
Yeah.
want to feel so good. Kind of
Right.
like withdrawal symptoms, and then
Yeah.
you're just kind of going back and forth. So, the season can be, seasonal affective disorder is really tied to a lot of food because
Yeah.
it is around the holiday season.
Yeah.
And what people are really trying to get, again, out of the meal. Is it about being with people, or is it about eating as much as humanly possible or feeling good?
Right. Because it is comfort food based. I mean, you are eating a lot of the cakes and cookies and pies and all the stuff that makes you feel good and makes you feel full. That once want to go snuggle up and watch a Netflix Christmas movie and take a nap.
Yes.
All the things.
What's interesting, speaking of movies, so the Eddie Murphy version of The Nutty Professor, right? The famous scene where everybody's at the table and Sherman's trying to eat a salad and trying to do better with his diet, and they're all the other characters
Yep.
eating fried chicken and telling him, "Boy, you need to eat this," and and everybody's going around. And what I see with that is they're so happy because they're eating all this food that isn't good for them, right? So even though they look happy and he looks sad, he is trying to do something to better himself,
Right.
where they're just trying to do everything to shove in their mouth to make them feel as good as possible. So sometimes when you see families like, oh, they look so happy, it's like, but what is the thing that is making them happy? And a lot of times that the best relationship they've ever had is their relationship to their food. And also the kind of the trauma that kind of comes with that. So Steve, I said this on an earlier podcast, is if my mom controls all of the grocery shopping,
Right.
and she, soothes herself through food, well, then I'm going to eat her trauma,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
if she's making fried chicken and pies and things because that makes her feel good, and she controls what we eat, then by proxy, I'm going to absorb that, and I don't know anything better. I don't know
Yeah.
how to eat healthy because... I mean, what am I going to tell my mom when I'm 7, 8 years old? Don't cook that. Could you please take the fried off and
Yeah.
take the skin off? And,
I know.
you're not going to do that.
I prefer baked.
So, for
Yeah.
people who have experienced that quite
Yeah.
often in their life, what do you do to kind of break that seal for them to kind of go on the path of making better food choices?
Yeah, I really like to break it down with them. Okay, what made you start eating this way? Okay, well, if it was your mom, if they're older or they're gone off to college, okay, what made you not want to change the way you were eating? Was it because it made you feel good too? Okay, let's work on that feeling, and that's why I like pairing with psychologists and therapists too, because you guys get to dive into that more, and I get to dive into the relationship with food more, and I just think it's so easy for it to become a comfort and not a necessity. So rather, and it's something I like to work with the mindset of all the people I work with is, okay, rather than thinking of this as like a negative, like, oh, I can't have the cookies, or, oh, I gotta have my fried chicken, and thinking of it as a negative, like, oh, I know this is bad, or switching it more into a positive, being like, I know that this salad is fueling my body for what it needs, or I know that this baked chicken is actually going to be better for my heart, for me to see my grandkids, rather than the fried chicken, or saying, if you want a cookie, rather than saying, no, I can't have any cookies, allowing yourself to have one and saying it's okay. And I think it's it's just working a lot with how people view their food and how they view that relationship, what they've grown up on, and kind of, I don't want to say break bad habits, but just kind of break that chain that has led to our obesity epidemic in America, and that has led to a lot of health problems for people and families that have lost people way too early to diabetes and heart disease and kidney failure and all those things that you never want to talk about, but they're there because of, and we don't even realize it, they were the way we were raised.
Right.
So,
I mean, because
Yeah.
when people see that, they're like, "Oh, I won't do that."
Yeah.
Like they eat too much. You know, they have the sugar. I don't have type 2 diabetes. My foot's
Right.
not going to get cut off or anything like that. I'll be fine. I know how to say no as they're eating.
Right.
Right. As they're
Yeah.
eating, like, oh, I can do this. But I think kind of breaking those chains that you
Yeah.
speak of from where I sit as a therapist is you're also having to change the relationships you have with the people.
Yep.
And that is sometimes really, really difficult. Like I personally, when I'm in my city and my own my own home, I can eat whatever I want. But what happens again, if I go to Granny's house for Thanksgiving, and a lot of our connection is through the food that
Yep.
we eat, right? A lot of our relationship is built on,
Right.
this food. So now I got to tell her I can't eat this, or well, what's wrong with you? So sometimes people feel, particularly if they value cooking so much,
yeah.
that it's an indictment on them.
Right.
Right? Because you
Yeah.
say, well, I should not eat this way. So what do you mean? I've been feeding you wrong
Yeah.
this whole time?
And it's like,
And it's kind of
yeah.
like, yeah. But,
Unfortunately, yes.
right? But how do you say that? Well, Granny,
Yeah.
well, I shouldn't eat as much. It's like, no, I shouldn't eat this at all. But how do you say that? And I
Yeah.
think that's where a lot of the anxiety comes from. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I get more phone calls for therapy during this time of year more than anything. And a lot of it is seeing their family.
Yeah.
And then when you kind of break down, like, well, tell me about your, going to see your family. A lot of it is, well, I'm trying to make these changes that's better for my life. And part of that is diet too, right? I want to work out, I want to get more endorphins, I want to get more serotonin in my body, whatever it may be. But I can't do that because doing that means that I have to kind of be away from my family.
Right.
I can't really sit around them and just eat and eat and eat because that's just kind of what you do. So it's really kind of trying to reconcile, like, how do I do what's best for me
Right.
while at the same time still connect with my family?
Yeah.
Because particularly for poorer families, because that's all you could really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is to, like, you commiserate through food. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing, because,
Yeah.
maybe one family here or there didn't have the ability to feed everyone. So isn't that what Thanksgiving was about?
Right.
People coming together.
Yeah.
So making sure that everybody can eat. So, that's a lot of socioeconomic. So there's so many factors that kind of
Absolutely.
play into, disordered eating. There's cultural, there's socioeconomic statuses,
Absolutely.
there's geography, there's so many aspects to it. But I think having that understanding of all the factors that may play into something where you may be binge eating or that you're overcompensating by not eating at all.
Absolutely.
Understanding those factors kind of help you kind of navigate, that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question real quick.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go on the opposite end actually one end of the spectrum. And people who are 600, 700, 800 pounds.
Yeah.
At some point, was there a chemical breakdown or where they become so dependent on food that they just can't say no? Is that what happens a lot of times or what?
I'll let you take that one.
I-
I'll work on the same perspective, but
Yeah,
you
I mean,
first.
honestly, yes. A lot of times, we don't even realize that it's a chemical breakdown in our brain, and we lose some of the, hearing the ghrelin in your stomach or feeling that. So it is a chemical imbalance sometimes, and like Brandon and I were saying, it's how they grew up. They've grown up comfort food. They could have gone through a trauma and they look to food as a comfort, or they could have, had a loss in the family and it really hit them hard and they just kept eating, and they just couldn't stop. And that's typically how people end up getting to 600-700 pounds, and it's not something, I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, it is. I mean, it's very serious, and it's just, I think people are afraid to talk about their relationship with food sometimes because it's something that so many people think that they should have a normal relationship. Like, oh, I'm having these weird thoughts, like I shouldn't have that. And it's harder for people to open up necessarily about, I think I might have a problem with food. I keep trying these diets and I keep wanting to have pie and cake and cookies and ice cream after every meal. Like, why is that? But I don't want to talk about it because I shouldn't have this problem because it's food. I need food.
Right.
So I think that tends to be why we have so many eating disorder. I shouldn't say have so many, but have so many disordered eating patterns and eating disorders. It is because people just don't want to talk about it, and then all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, I have this huge problem and I don't know how to fix it. So
one other question for now anyway.
Yeah, no, you're fine. These are great.
Has food in general changed over time, and because of that change has changed us? In other words,
Yeah.
how foods are produced,
Right.
how foods are manufactured, so how does that play into what you guys are talking about?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, and this is actually something I'm very passionate about talking about. Fun fact, so I'm just gonna use like Doritos for an example. Okay, everybody loves Doritos. Everybody loves a walking taco with ground beef Doritos. Like when you go to a baseball game, but a Dorito actually has like no real ingredients in it. So a lot of times, big food manufacturers, I shouldn't say all, but quite a few of them, it's just all chemicals and all preservatives, and they taste really darn good because their scientists have come up with a flavor that is pleasing to our palate, but it's all through chemicals, dyes, just things that aren't good for our body that we end up craving again, and that's why a lot of people crave cookies and chips and all those artificial little Debbie's you can buy at the stores, because it is all chemicals, and they've tricked your brain into thinking, oh yeah, this is good, I want this, I need this. Yes. But also too, the way our food is grown, you always want to make sure you wash everything, rinse out your cans and all that stuff. There's still a lot of evidence that's coming out about, organic, non-GMO, all that kind of stuff. And I do always err on the side of caution, but, organic is expensive, and I never, if you can buy organic, great, do it. But if not, like, I don't buy everything organic. I'll maybe buy organic strawberries once every few months, just woohoo. But as I'm a big believer, if you wash them, you're good. Does that answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
awesome.
Well, I think for me, what I see is food tends to meet the demand of what society is asking. Right. So throughout, right, if you look historically, through farm subsidies and stuff like that, when there was an explosion in the population, that the food companies were going to meet that demand, and they saw, more marks, for lack of a better term. Oh, there are more people that can become addicted to our product.
Yep.
Right. The more people we have, right, the chemists are there to make sure that you want that food again, like a drug dealer. It's about to come back. Right. So as we become, same amount of hours in a day, but we become fuller with our day, they're going to make foods as convenient as possible. Right? That's its purpose. So how do I make you feel good that once you make the decision, if you have these $2 to spend, are you going to spend it on this, or are you going to spend it on something else? So we need it to taste good, not to be nourishing, but to taste good, because that's all we really care about. We care about the comeback, right? Right? It's not like a drug dealer's like, I want this thing to be really healthy to them, really help their anxiety. It's like, nah, I want to get high as hell so I can come on back and get high as hell again and get away from my problem. So I think food, in a lot of ways, is the same thing as that, right? Okay, now going back to the 600-pound question. See, I'm on fire now. Thank you. The 600-pound life, my sister has basically trained me for this question, because that's half the times when I would go to visit her, that's what she watches.
Right.
And if you watch, in almost every case, they're in a relationship. In almost every case, they have a relationship. So again, going back to relationships, the food is an allegory to the embodiment of people just reinforcing their bad behavior. Time after time after time. It's like, for you to get that big, are there chemical imbalances? Sure. There has to be a whole confluence of things that occurs for somebody to get that big when you're 3, 4, 5 times the size of a normal human being. There's some glitch in the system. But there's also enabling that has to occur throughout, right? So a lot of people have found their voices. Sometimes it's through abuse. And if I get bigger, then my abuser may not be attracted to me, and it just runs amok because they never talked about it. They never processed it through therapy. But I can really genuinely create a suit of armor that no one wants to touch, right? If I get so grotesque, nobody wants to touch me, and my abuse is over. But then I can't cut it off because it is a chemical imbalance, and you have the spouses or the parents or somebody who's like, but I'm hungry. And again, because it's food and we need it, well, I have to feed my baby. Right, and it's like, no, if you go to sleep, you'll be fine, right? That's what fat is. Fat is stored energy, right? That's what it is at the end of the day. But people see that I mean, and just imagine thinking on a very basic level, every time I'm hungry, if I don't eat, I am going to die. Right?
Yep.
And that's how people feel. If I don't eat now, I'm going to die.
So it becomes a fear.
It does.
Oh, yes.
Hunger is a fear.
Yes, a basic fear.
Yeah.
A basic fear.
Yeah.
And when you don't understand what food is supposed to be for you, you'll make it what you want it to be for you. Just like any relationship. If you don't know what you want to get out of it, or you don't know what you want it to be, it will be something. But it may not necessarily be the thing that you need. And now you have this codependency to it because it's the only thing, again, that can consistently make you feel good. Because if you watch that show, they're always arguing with somebody. They're always, come on now, you can't eat that much, you know, not the 64 ounce, get the 32. And it's like, fuck you, I want the 64 ounce now. And you're like, oh, well, I don't want to make you mad. You know, versus, you'll get over it. What you gonna do? Run? Like, what you gonna come after me? Like, I mean, not to be crass about it, but again, it's that level of accountability that people have to have for their family members. And I'm not trying to, make a joke of it, but it's like, but that's been years and years and years of people just enabling them. You know, and I got picked on, I got bullied, and it's like, and I'll eat to comfort myself. And so there's always a confluence of things. It's that biopsychosocial model that sometimes we have the biology for it. We have there's a glitch in our ability to process information, and then it's our environment. And you have those things, and you might have poverty involved where you're getting a lot of the preservatives. And if I have Medicaid or food stamps and I'm trying to be as efficient as possible with buying my food, then I can't buy organic.
Nope.
You know, I can't. I have to buy the thing to feed these 8 mouths. So how do I get the most bang for my buck?
Wow.
Yeah. And to go off that too, hunger is something that we fear. That is, I always challenge people to, just as a little challenge, like if I'm going to see them in a week, I always tell them, okay, if most people get hungry about 10. If they eat breakfast at like 7 or 8, during the work week, and they eat lunch about noonish, give or take, usually about 10 o'clock is like, that's when the hunger hits. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to make it. I always challenge them. I'm like, I don't try to not eat anything just one day and see if you make it to lunch. Because our body naturally is going to regulate itself, and then you're going to be really ready to eat. And it's not something I tell people to restrict, or if you're hungry, you got to eat. But also know that if you do, just hang on a sec. Your body is going to wait, and you're going to actually be able to be hungry and more satisfied from your meal than you would be from like a Snickers bar that you had at 10 because you just thought you couldn't make it because you were scared you were going to get too hungry before lunch.
Right. So how do you make the distinction between knowing when you're hungry versus knowing when you're thirsty? Because I know a lot of people struggle with making that distinction. They're like, something doesn't feel right, I must be hungry. So how would you inform someone how to make that distinction? Yeah,
I'm a big fan of fun water bottles, number one.
Okay.
So having water at your accessibility, keep it there at all times, so then you're constantly, just taking a sip of water. And I think fun water bottles with like a good straw, it makes it easier to drink water. So I always tell people to get excited about what you're drinking out of. So get like a fun water bottle or whatever excites you. So then you're constantly drinking water throughout the day, so then you don't have to worry about the dehydration and the thirst as much. But with the hunger, you really gotta feel hungry. Like you'll know when your stomach's going to gurgle and you're gonna be like, oh, yep, I'm ready to eat. Your stomach will naturally do that, and when it doesn't, then you're not ready to eat.
Right.
It actually physically will be hungry, and you will feel a gurgle and a sensation of, yes, my tank is empty, and it's time to fill it up. So, and this may be TMI, but I always tell people, look at your urine.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to look at your urine, and unfortunately, coffee and sweet tea dehydrate you, and that's a false when you look in the toilet after going to the bathroom, but because your urine will be a lighter color. But just know, every cup of coffee, you gotta replace that with at least a cup of water to get back to your maintenance, and then another cup to rehydrate. So you just always have to look at your urine, especially after the morning, because that's typically when people consume the most caffeine. Make sure you rehydrate with water, and then you got to keep it a light yellow all day. And then you'll know that you're not dehydrated, you're not thirsty. So,
one of the things that I say, so when I think about eating, I really kind of got this from drinking. When you're younger, you don't really know how to drink yet. You know
Yeah.
you can drink, but you don't know how to drink. You don't know how your body processes alcohol
Yeah.
and the amount of time that it takes. So just like food, one of the things that I try to tell people is if you're unsure, wait.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
If I take 5 shots at one time, or I take 1 shot, it's going to hit my body around the same time.
Yep.
But when it hits, it's either going to hit with 1 shot or 5
Or
shots.
5, right.
Right. So if I'm eating really,
Right.
really fast, I can down a lot of food.
Yep.
If I
Yep.
eat really, really fast, I can down a lot of food. So it's like, just wait. And that's what, to me, having a relationship is like, go out on a date. Elongate the date. Have an experience with the
Yep.
food. Take your time. Because more often than not, if you take your time, you probably won't finish.
Exactly.
You
Yep.
probably will not finish your food because you're allowing the food to process, just like alcohol, right? There's going to be a lot of parties. Steve, I would imagine that this party on the 6th, going to be some adult beverages.
There will be.
So I'm going to school everybody who's going to come. Please take your time with your drinking. This ain't taking anybody home. I'm just going just FYI, I'm not taking anybody home.
And you can't sleep here.
There you go too. So, but again, just with alcohol, because I know that's something we're going to talk a little
Yeah.
bit about
Yeah.
later. But it's like you got to really take your time with
Yeah.
anything, right? And,
Yep.
But what I say to people is, you have to know how food like enters your body. Like, what's
Absolutely.
the purpose of it? And it's amazing how few people actually know what the purpose of food is and what it's supposed to do for your body and
Yeah.
the time that it takes, the parts of your body that you hit. Because they're just like, oh, it's just a thing I'm told I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And some people have a lot of that in life. They're like, I do this. I don't know why I do it.
Yeah.
I was told to do it. And so they can't really learn.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what to learn.
Right.
So how do you teach people about how food is processed in the body and kind of that process?
Yeah. I kind of honestly based off of how much they want to know. I mean, we can
Okay.
go into the nitty gritty if they want to, you know, go down deep into it. But really, I just explain that, you know, like I've been saying, your body is really good at regulating itself. And so, and I always remember this picture from school, and it just describes our body, the way we digest food so well. So it's a picture of a stomach, and it has and it's filled with fruits and vegetables and nuts and stuff like that. And the next one over is filled with like protein, like meats, chicken, all that kind of stuff. And then the next one over is filled with like butter and oil and fats. So, and the way your body processes those and the time it takes to process those. So a full stomach of fruits and vegetables, you know, if you had that for lunch or whatever, can get processed through your body so much faster because the nutrients are so much readily available and your fiber is just moving everything through so much faster. I mean, you could get hungry in 2 hours.
Right.
I mean, easy. The protein takes, you know, about 4 hours roughly for your body to break down and digest and really get everything through. And then you'll start to get hungry after about 4 hours. And then if you have a big fried chicken, French fries, you know, all the fatty foods, like in the last little picture that I usually show, I mean, that can take up to 6 to 7 hours to fully get through. That's why, you know, if you have a big fried chicken Sunday dinner, or at lunch, I guess, technically, and you aren't hungry for dinner, it's because it's taken your body that long to process everything.
Right.
And it's one of those things where you're like, whoa, well, my body's working to process it. No, your body's working a lot better if you're fueling it with the fruits and vegetables, because then it can do it again and again and again,
Right.
rather than it was just working on one meal really slowly.
Right.
So
I'm going to take that and take those proteins and carbohydrates
Yeah.
and things like knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do 2 types of reading. I read for work. I read an hour a day for work, and I read pleasure reading.
Yep.
Now, my pleasure reading, I can read for hours and hours and hours at a time, right? Because I'm not really trying to really process
Yeah.
what I'm reading.
Yep.
It's just that it's enjoyable. It's my snack.
Yep.
It's my candy, right? I don't have to really process it. It's just, oh, it's fun. You know, that's why some people can get through a novel in like a day or two.
Yeah.
Because why? It's, you know, there's really nothing that much to absorb.
Yeah.
But my work, I only read an hour at a time. Why? Because I have to process
Yeah.
what I'm reading. I have to process
Absolutely.
this knowledge. And that takes time. And if I really want to get something out of it, the more I read, the more I'm, again, ingesting more of these knowledge calories, but I can't really process it all because I'm not giving my brain the chance to really
Right.
do that. So,
Right.
it's the same thing with food.
Yeah.
If you want to eat something that's really knowledge rich, so to speak,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
got to give it its time.
Yep.
if you keep ingesting and ingesting, yes, you've done a lot of reading and you've moved a lot of pages, but you haven't really absorbed what you needed to absorb
Right.
from that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I, kind of
Yeah.
make that distinction, that
Yeah.
there are certain things that you can eat, and and you're going to process, and it's to feel good, and it's going to make you go on about your business. But if it's something that you really need, your body is going to do what it's going to do. So no matter how, now you can keep adding more food to it.
Yep.
But if it's going to take 6 or 7 hours, it's going to take 6 or 7 hours.
Yep.
So take your time.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
And if you
Exactly.
understand that, you
Yep.
know that, right? Because it's really what you're going to get, not how much you eat, but what do you want to get from the food
Yep.
that you eat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So listen to your hunger and your fullness cues. Tell me about this. Your self no only leads to trouble in the end. What does that mean?
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about this, especially with this time of year, because we are the Christmas. I know Christmas cookies are going to be made. Probably Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
so
man, sugar cookies, man.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those things that, and I'm a big believer in it. The more you tell yourself no, and the more you restrict yourself from the simple pleasures in life, the more you're going to indulge in the end. So that's what I mean when it leads to trouble. So if I keep, Mom made her famous sugar cookies that I absolutely love, but I'm trying to look good for the Christmas parties,
Right.
and you keep telling yourself, nope, I'm not going to have it. Nope, I'm not going to have it. Nope, I'm going to have it. Well, the next time you see a sugar cookie at a Christmas party, instead of just having one because you enjoy them, you're going to have like 7. And then you're going to feel like so gross and just, you're going to feel that worn down and just, I don't feel good. I just ate 7 sugar cookies.
Right.
My body just went, woo, crazy with my blood sugar, and you're not going to feel good afterwards. So that's what I mean by constantly telling yourself no. It's not going to lead to a good outcome because you're going to overindulge in the end.
So is it yes with parameters? Okay.
Yes. So I'm a big believer in indulge in what you need to indulge in, but also know that it's okay to go back later. So, and I like to I'm going to use Thanksgiving as an example of this. So if I'm going to go up, it's first course, okay? Everybody's going in. It's time to eat. I get my piece of turkey. Oh, I really love Grandma's mashed potatoes and gravy. And I'm about to take a big old honkin' scoop. But rather than taking a big scoop, and let yourself have a little, or, a normal portion, and a normal portion of everything, eat it, or eat however much you're hungry for, and then decide to go back what you actually want to go get a second for, rather than already deciding and overindulging, just because I think sometimes, Grandma's mashed potatoes are great, but dang, that mac and cheese was good, and I wish I could have had more than that, but now I'm too stuffed, and now I'm going to overeat because I want more of that,
I think you're making a lot of people upset because they're like, hey, baby, can you make my plate for me? And then they get all the things that they want. They're like, oh, shit, I'm not supposed to eat that much. So basically you're saying everybody needs to go make their own plate if you're trying to watch.
I mean, do what you can, or, eat what you want out of the things that you want, but then get a second help. And I mean, it's okay if you don't eat all the green beans or all the stuffing, or, and if you want more mashed potatoes, you can go back for more. Know that, okay, I had my serving. I'm pretty comfortable right now. I kind of want to save some room in my comfort zone for some pumpkin pie later. But I know I'm going to be sent home with leftovers. Okay, I'm good with that. Allowing yourself to know that it's okay to stop and take some home.
That's really interesting. I was thinking about past Thanksgivings that I've gone to where a lot of people bring food. And it is really about one's ego. What you choose to eat and don't eat, right? Because you only have so much on the plate, but you're like, oh man, my aunt brought this and my cousin brought this, and what the hell are these Brussels sprouts I'm supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
Right? But you want to so sometimes you can overindulge by sampling.
Yeah.
Every one thing is in moderation because you're trying to sample, but you're also not trying to hurt anybody's ego or their esteem by eating. So I'm going to have a little bit of this dressing. I don't even know what this is. Is that raisins?
Yeah.
Whatever. I have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Right? I have a little Beast collard greens that don't look like they chopped up enough, but that's my cousin, or that's, that's my, that's my new boyfriend's mama, and, so being able to really say, okay, well, this is only what I like. You
Yeah.
know, versus, well, hold on, you picked these collard greens, you only had 2 bites. What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
You know, and now you're like, oh crap, and now you're eating a few more, and you might do that 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
A day. So even if you're trying to have something in moderation, you need to understand what moderation actually is.
Yeah.
Because you can eat 4 bites of 20 things.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
a lot of Thanksgiving, that's what it is.
Yep.
Right? That,
Oh, yeah.
you know, yeah, I'm gonna come back and get some of that.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, man, you know, and it's like nobody's touched it yet. And
Yeah.
you're like, all right, maybe I need to be the one. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm really thinking about it from the relationship standpoint again, because Thanksgiving in particular, what you choose to eat is really a reflection at times of how you feel about that particular person.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of food
Absolutely.
is tied to that. You know, your associations to them. So if you're overindulging in one thing, still doesn't mean you're not going to sample to make somebody feel good or something else. You know, and then you look in the trash can, you're like, oh, yep, I guess the loser today was that fried chicken that looked a little sloppy and wet. You know,
Yeah.
So it's really trying to, you know, be careful of that while at the same time doing what's best for you. Because at this time of year, a lot of people are going through seasonal affective disorder. And a lot of people are using the holiday season to be with family to make themselves feel good.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And a lot of the food is that, but it's also what you eat and what does it mean to that person if you do not eat something, you know. And that's why there's a lot of people with allergies.
Yeah.
You know, to things that they don't like
I'm
because
allergic.
Right, it's like, I'm allergic to you're allergic to all fruits and vegetables? Yes.
Yeah.
All of them. They all have properties that my body just can't necessarily rock
Can't
with.
do it.
Who
Can't
brought
do
this
it.
fruit salad for Thanksgiving? This is ridiculous.
Oh, goodness.
So I see your tip, packing more nutritious options.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
So I was thinking Black Friday
Okay.
when I was telling you about this. So, because that is a busy day. You got a lot of lines to stand in. Typically, you're going to get hangry.
Yes.
And then you're in a mall. So, quickest thing is a McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, you know, Starbucks, whatever. The quick and easy. I'm going. I got to get my sales. I got to get my Christmas done today. So, and I just wanted this little tip and trick for everybody that's they want to try to start making some lifestyle changes during this time of the year and not feel, again, after Thanksgiving, just feeling so gross and so, weighed down after that big meal. So I just wanted to, make sure to pack a granola bar, pack some nuts, make sure you have a water bottle with you. You're not just surviving on soda and coffee all day, have a water in there, if you have to pack a PB&J, just something that you're not having to just go grab Chick-fil-A and then you're going to get a Coke, I almost said burger, the chicken sandwich and the waffle fries, you're instead going to have a banana and some nuts and a sandwich or, something just to tide you over until you can actually go sit down at like a Panera and take a little break or go home for a quick sec and have some leftovers from Thanksgiving. And, it's a money saver while you're spending a lot of money and making some better options. So when you're standing in a line and you're not like, Susie, would you pick a lipstick color?
Right.
And, getting hangry, then you can just whip out some grapes or things like that. So,
So,
Pack
but
ready.
it's knowing what you already like, right? Because most people are like granola. I don't get no damn granola bar.
I know.
I don't eat granolas on the normal.
yeah, exactly. You want to pack what you like.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
Right.
just because I like granola bars doesn't mean that you have to pack a granola bar. If you, want to pack celery and peanut butter or if you like popcorn or some, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Just having something that's nutritious and fueling for you, but also that will make you feel satisfied. Like, I'm a big fan of just putting grapes in a Ziploc baggie because it's filling, gives something sweet because typically you're going to need a little energy boost.
Right.
And they're easy. You can pop them in your mouth and it's not like you have a whole banana in your hand or an apple. They're easier to keep in your purse or your bag or whatever.
Well, I think part of this, going back to binge eating, binging is kind of an impulsive desire and behavior that is
Absolutely.
kind of commensurate with it. So really planning out your day, right? Like, so if it's Black Friday, for example, you're like, all right, I expect to be here from this time to this time. What am I going to do? What's going to hold me over?
Yep.
If you never plan anything, then it is just about feeling because you have no context. You're like, okay, I should start getting hungry around this time. I got about another hour and then I'll be good to go. But if you're not thinking about that, it is, again, I'm hungry now. Let's get this cracking now. Where's Chick-fil-A?
Yep.
Oh, hell, the line is long, but it doesn't matter.
Yep. Exactly.
So
exactly.
really kind of planning that out. And I think even on a day-to-day basis, what a lot of people do is that their day is so planned out for them. They don't plan out within it what their day is. Like I go to work at around 10, so I don't eat until lunch personally. It's just I just don't, because I usually eat late. So I'm like, all right, I need that, and I'll drink water, and usually I can tell. I'll drink water, and I'm like, after that, but I'll kind of plan out my day through, and then I'll get a banana. So I eat a banana almost at the same time. If I'm getting off at 8, I'll eat a banana at this time. I'll have lunch, and it kind of holds me over. And what that does is I never have those crashes. Yeah. I never have those, oh man, I'm so hungry. And then when I want something hungry, I want something as filling as possible. And then it just kind of gives me maybe a sugar rush, and then I crash or something like that. Also, tell me a little bit more about having an understanding of the types of food that you crave and your feelings.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of times when you get this, I'm just going to use that feeling of like, I'm super hungry. You're going to crave the super filling burger, the fried chicken, something that is going to fill you up because you're craving that sense of fullness. When you're feeling more sad, you crave something that is going to make you also feel good. That's, if you went through a breakup or something, you crave, brownies, sweets, cookies, because it's something sweet. It, that creaminess in your mouth, it's puts a coating over your tongue, and it gives you almost like a little bit of a blanket.
Right.
But you don't even realize it's doing it. When you're angry or you've had a stressful day and you want a chip because it's crunched and you can bite down on it because you're releasing some tension, anger, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. So, and that's why I did my food Instagram moods for foods. I don't know if you caught that,
I did, yes. But that's really interesting. But knowing that about yourself, like for me, if I'm sad, I want gummy bears.
Right.
Like that's my sadness, candy, and I know that. If I'm like happy and I want candy, I tend to want like sweet tarts. But like knowing that level of specificity can give me an understanding, like, ooh, I'm craving gummy bears. What's going on? Right. And that's a way for me to kind of take my time, kind of reset, and be like, well, what's going on? Yeah. If I'm anxious, I lose my appetite. And then when I gain it back, I want something very filling because I've been so hungry because my body temporarily restricted my desire to be hungry. And now I'm kind of like eating this really, now it's Chick-fil-A. Right. Yeah. With all the ketchup and, Polynesian sauce or whatever it is to make myself full. So really having that understanding of, food can tell you so much. Right. From what you eat, to your point, to literally what you release. And everything in between is going to give you some understanding of who and kind of where you are at that particular time.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this.
Sure. Yeah.
You're talking about cravings and sugar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have we not been conditioned over centuries to crave sugar? Isn't that not in our own DNA?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sugar is just as addictive as cocaine, any drugs. People are addicted to sugar. And I'm a big believer in, sugar is naturally made in the earth. I'm big into holistic. If it grew in the earth, like it's okay to have. I think it just got kind of blown up because it's in everything processed now. And I'm not a big sweetener gal because it does something to our brain. It tricks it. So if you're gonna have sugar, you might as well have the real thing.
Right.
No, if you have a different disease, that's a different
story. What is real sugar?
Sugar cane? Yeah.
Is it the regular white sugar? Is it?
Yeah, that's just a little bit more broken down. But if you some people just really like sugar in the raw. I mean, my husband loves sugar in the raw, and I love it in my coffee too. And it's just kind of it's a preference. It's basically the same thing. It's just a little bit more.
Yes, and our bodies do need some sugar.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Particularly our brains. Our brains very much work off that, but it's in moderation.
Exactly.
And that's why when you have sugar, you tend to feel good and euphoric. But then you're going to eventually have that crash, particularly if you ingest too much of it. So yes, we do need it. Yeah. Right. It is an evolutionary process for us. But we have so much of it. Yeah. That, it's everywhere. It's hard to have anything without sugar.
Yep.
So.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, all right. So now, we're getting towards the end. But just like at the end of the year, it's a lot of Christmas parties and holiday parties that are about to jump out. There's a lot of people about to hear how their coworker feels about them.
Yeah, whether they want to or not.
Right. Whether you're going to get keep your job next year, or all the things in between. When you work with somebody who, during this holiday season, how do you, kind of help them kind of mitigate the alcohol and food consumption?
Well, and one thing I notice a lot too is people drink more a lot during the week nowadays. As kind of another coping mechanism of a stressful, busy work life and, home life, whatever's going on. So I really tell, one piece of advice I give people, I say, listen, if you got XYZ during the week and you have the Christmas party on Saturday, Susie Q's gal's Christmas on, or Friday night, whatever, and you know that there's going to be a lot of beverages consumed, whether it's White Claw, wine, beer, fun Christmas drinks, whatever, really understanding, okay, maybe, if I know I'm going to have a lot of drinks this weekend, maybe I don't have them during the week. Kind of don't save up to overindulge, but also knowing, okay, I know I'm going to have something I enjoy. I know I'm going to have that on Saturday. I'm not depriving myself. I know I'm going to have it on Saturday, so I'm good. I don't need to have, my drinks on Tuesday and Wednesday this week, after work. And also, too, understanding when to hold off for a sec when you're drinking, because, when it's fun, you're chatting with everybody, you're like, oh, yeah, I'll have another gin and tonic, or I'll have another cranberry vodka with the pretty rosemary coming out of it because it's Christmas, understanding, maybe after 2, hang on for a sec, like, because your body is going to go through some sort of spike and change. Just kind of waiting to see, do I really want another one? Again, listening to what your body's telling you. I'm not telling you not to have a good time.
Right.
Listen, have a good time. Do whatever you want. But I always just like to err on the side of caution, too. Like, if you're wanting to maybe start your healthy lifestyle change, it's just a good time to really focus on, do I really need a second beverage, or am I good? Because I know I want to clean my house tomorrow.
Right.
Kind of just focusing on that. It's not something you gotta do every time, but it's just something to keep in mind.
One thing that's interesting that my best friend and I, hello Sean, we used to say all the time is that the people who are at a party don't have something in their hand. They look odd if you just kind of look at the crowd. So people tend to want something in their hand. Yeah. Right? So if I'm at a place where adult beverages are available, then I'm going to have something in my hand. So I say, if you want to have something in your hand, have something consistent with the alcohol that you drink. So for all my brown liquor drinkers out there, the Coca-Colas or the whatever, hopefully you don't mix it. But if you do, Hennessy and Coke or something like that, then get a Coke. Yep. Right? Because it looks, clear. You want something like, oh, boy, what the hell wrong with you? You got a DUI last week or something? That's why you can't drink? Right. But having something where that looks consistent, so it can be an accessory as opposed to the star of a party. Because everybody knows somebody's going to get, a little bit too much, or they're going to drink something that they shouldn't drink. And again, even with food, knowing what alcohol does to your body, what types of alcohol, right? Some people tend to have a type of alcohol that they like. And if you kind of steer away, particularly in a situation where it's very public, you don't know how your body's going to process. So if you're typically a brown liquor drinker and you drink gin, and you're like, oh, this makes me feel different. And now I'm at a place where I don't really know, a bunch of people. You kind of need to know that to say, you know what, maybe I would try this out, but not in this environment. Right. It's just like if you're eating food and you don't really know how your body's going to digest it, like maybe this isn't the place to try something right now, right? We
don't need to run to the bathroom.
Right, exactly. So it's really, but this is about understanding time or place. Like the food and the alcohol is an accessory to having a good time. Yep. If having a good time is drinking and eating, then you're going to make it the star, and you're going to treat it with the attention that a star wants to have. So again, trying to wrap this up by also saying it's always about relationships. What type of relationship are you wanting to have during this season? Are the people that you're hanging out with the relationship you want to have, or is it the food or the alcohol? So Steve, we're going to wrap this up. So, Allie Richardson, thank you again so much for being here. This was fun.
I appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Enjoy, eat well, but eat soundly and smartly, and be a little soft on the alcohol. So, we'll catch up with you next time. This is Brandon Risher with The Slant. Peace out.